Don't forget to tip your bartender, they say. Well, does that apply to which Jenner is this? Kendall. Apparently she did not tip the bartender according to this photo posted on Instagram. There she is with her just too big a signature, really.
Kendall Nicole Jenner.
She, according to this, posted by a bartender with the caption, "Don't forget to tip your bartender, smiley," came from a receipt at New York's bar Baby's All Right. And the implication is that Kendall did not tip her waiter. What do you think about it? Thoughts, 5 words or less.
Can you tip in Pepsi?
Oh, Kendall, just the tip.
Not enough evidence.
Right, Brett, I agree.
Sorry.
Cash, could have been cash.
Yeah, people had responses like, you know what is actually bitchy, rude, and uncool? Not tipping your fucking servers, you subhuman garbage monsters. They wrote to her.
Oh my, wait. Someone added Kendall Jenner in that? You subhuman garbage monster.
That's the best way to throw shade online. You at them.
You've said garbage person to people.
To people I love.
Yeah.
It is an endearing thing. I would never at a celebrity be like, you garbage human. Like that's insane.
It's not, it's 2017, it's not that.
You gutter monster! You don't deserve, you subhuman.
Can we talk about tipping though, you guys? Because okay, here's the. Did anyone ever watch that Third Rock from the Sun where John Lithgow goes to a restaurant, he takes out a stack of dollar bills, puts it on the table, calls over the waitstaff and says, "Okay, this is your tip. Now I will remove $1 if you are mouthy, if you don't bring me water." Amazing, but I tip. Well, I normally tip 20%, and at the holidays I tip even more because I understand, some people that work as waiters and waitresses make less than minimum wage.
Yeah,
but I mean, an audience, guys here in the studio, do you think that every waiter should be tipped? What if it's shitty service? I'm talking about like shitty service, like they don't come to your table only once. You're there for hours. Like why do you gauge how to tip?
Unless someone is outwardly rude to you and your table, I think you always tip at least 20%. This is just because I've worked in a restaurant before as well, and I think you just don't know what's going on in someone's day. If they're late, like you don't know if something happened with their family, if there's been like a health scare, or you just have no idea. So unless someone literally is like, "Here's your food, you gutter garbage human, you subhuman piece of shit. Here's your food, you garbage monster." Unless barring that, I think just always tip at least the 20% minimum. And then what I like to say, for excellent service, I always like to tip more or shout out to their manager or give them a good Yelp review, because that will really have like positive kickbacks. I got a positive Yelp review when I was working at a restaurant, and they definitely described, it wasn't the best description of me.
What did it say?
But it was like clear that it was me. Just like the tall, it was
Black
something
girl.
like, no, it was like there was like the tall girl with it was like, she has a big chin and a big smile or something like that, and I was like, fair,
yeah.
cool. Anyway, and that really helped me out with my manager when I had to call off work later. So that does help out. That said, we have no idea if she did or didn't tip. She could have used cash.
Right.
So for me, when there's bad service, like overtly terrible service, I say to myself in my head, I am not tipping this person, that's evil. What they did to me, then I realized that evil thing was putting down the ketchup with an attitude. Evil in the world is way worse than evil perceived in a restaurant. And then I go, I also don't want to feel like a total jerk, so I'll tip.
Some people,
I tip. My tipping is a combination of wanting to pay them the right amount and then being lazy at math. So I just double whatever the first two numbers are.
Yeah.
Some people feel that tipping is. They say that if you can't afford to tip your waiter or waitress, you should not eat at the restaurant, which I don't agree with. I feel like sometimes like you're hungry, you barely have enough to get that burrito plate at the Mexican restaurant. So I mean, you keep it moving. And that's only happened to me once, but I was at Big Wang's in Hollywood.
Been there.
And great place.
Had a bad experience.
Did you?
Socially, the place was there, right? Those are amazing buffalo wings.
Right, but the waitress came over, this tall, statuesque, probably an actress, really cute. I thought she was sexy, so I said, "Oh my God," said waitress, "I think you're beautiful. Are you going to order or not, sir?" And I'm just like, I thought, did I see something offensive? So she goes away, comes back. I asked for water. Fine. Like attitude the whole day. Did not tip this chick because there again, You may have had a bad day, fine, I don't know what's going on in your life, but if you're continually and repeatedly being a douchebag to me,
yeah,
it's just, I mean, a tip is to ensure proper service, right? I wasn't rude to her, but yet I let my disdain for how she treated me show in her tip. You are choosing, and I work in customer service audience, okay, and I'm not.
Yeah, I think that's worth being said because people who have worked in the service, in those kinds of food service industries or customer service, get it. And it's a different, when I hear a story from someone who's worked in that field, it is absolutely always like, I've done this before, I know days can suck.
Right, and I've never waited tables, but I work for a tech giant who we have these really draconian and very strict, if a 10 is the only acceptable number. Anything 8, 9, 7 is a detractor. And you get called in for that and they ask you, they will focus group, it's really, really weird. But I'm choosing to work in this environment. I'm choosing to deliver a product and customer service to the customer. So therefore, I have to be mindful of how to do that. And if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm something has happened that's causing me to be a little off, I need to be cognizant of that and check that. And I can't expect, like Brad, if you come into my, I want to say the name, I'm not going to. You come into my place of business, you want to buy, an electronic device, and I'm like, how's your credit? Or like, your bills past due, sir. Like if I'm a douche about it, you're not gonna give me a good rating, Right. And so the argument people have, is that's their job, that's how they make their money, but they're choosing to work in that environment, so you have to acquiesce to the elements of that job.
Uber lets you tip now. Do you tip?
Yeah, I take Lyft if I have to, and I always tip for a good ride.
Did you know that at least Lyft factors in your probable tip to their payment of their drivers?
Lyft does?
Yeah. They say the average tip is this. To compete with Uber, we should charge this much and the average tip. So if you don't tip, you're stiffing them. It's factored into how much that company's bottom line works.
Also, just a total adjacent point here from what we were talking about. I think it is a little strange to go into a restaurant if you're a very famous person because people know that you are wealthy, and there must be a little bit of a sense of obligation or burden to be a big tipper because they know you can spare the expense.
It's your luxury tax, for sure.
So like my friend related to Kendall Jenner because he dated her, Harry Styles went into the restaurant where my friend worked and she waited on him.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
It sounded like your friend was Harry Styles.
My
friend was related to Kendall Jenner. Kylie,
my bestie Harry
Chloe,
Styles.
Which one's her friend? And she never told me about Harry Styles. I don't care.
My friend Tyra Banks, we kick it at the Ivy all the time.
No, my friend's a waitress, and she waited on Harry Styles, and he left a huge tip and was an amazing person to wait on. Like his whole group, she's like awesome, super polite, really friendly, huge tip. But the thing with that is that even if he'd been super friendly, good group, and normal tip, it would have been like, yeah, I mean, he tipped fine. I mean, it was normal. You wouldn't think about that if it was just if it had just been not a famous person. But because when there is someone famous, there's money behind it. There is this weird expectation that they should tip a fat amount for just, standard service. And I wonder if we should critique that more.
Other countries have a non-tipping situation.
Yes,
Japan, you tip in nothing. Because it's mean to. You can give them like chocolates or something, but
yeah, tipping is a very American thing.
Yeah,
what we do, and similar to what they were doing, I mean, don't get mad at Lyft for that and get mad at Uber for tons of other reasons besides that, but the way we pay waiters is we factor in that they're getting paid less than minimum wage, and they expect a tip. That's how they make their money. That justifies paying them less than minimum wage. There's an idea that there's some restaurants in Los Angeles specifically that tried going to a non-tip system where they raised their prices and said, here's why it's more. But I still feel like in America, there's just this thing where it's like, I don't want to be a dick.
Totally.
I think there's a lot of terrible tippers in the world.
My mom is a bad tipper.
Really?
Is
Why?
she?
I don't know, she just is.
So what do you think is a bad tipper?
I don't know, my dad just has to hold her account. She'll just be like $5, and my dad's like, oh my God, no, please, we have to leave.